Okay guys, so I am back and let's get right into the breakdown for the Avengers Infinity War teaser trailer. So as the trailer opens up, we hear the Nick Fury quote at the end of the first Avengers. Except this time, different parts of it are said out loud by different Avengers. As we get into the actual footage, we get our first look at some planet. I'm not sure exactly which planet. This could be from the MCU. Maybe it's a new one, maybe it's not. We don't really know as of right now. But we see Tony Stark in a praying stance looking really concerned. He's definitely holding the hand of someone. We then see a scene of Bruce Banner as he looks really shocked, almost probably like this is the moment where he's back on Earth, first time de-hulking, and he's really confused to where he is. We can see that there's a giant hole in the sky, so chances are he fell from the sky crashing through. As he's being looked at by Wong and of course Doctor Strange. We then see someone opening a window and we see right next to him that this is Scarlet Witch. Then we see that it's actually revealed to be Vision, who now has his human form that he seems to be keeping more on, I would say, on a regular basis. And it definitely looks like the two have a relationship. After that, we see Thor, who is on what I would presume is his ship that we last saw him in Thor Ragnarok. Unless something huge has changed up to this point, I'm gonna believe this is probably him watching like the invasion happening below. Just due to the fact that it looks like there's a bunch of burning and like something is almost falling onto the planet. We then get taken to Wakanda, where we see the Hulk as he's working on a brand new Hulkbuster arm, and he's smiling at someone who is then revealed to be Natasha Romanoff, aka the Black Widow. So clearly the reunion I guess some people have been waiting for. We then see a scene including Wong, Doctor Strange, Bruce Banner, and Tony Stark all turning towards a door looking rather concerned. We can see that the hole is behind him, so I'm guessing this is when Tony Stark showed up because he hears that Bruce is back. And we see Tony is leaving looking rather concerned as everybody outside seems to be running towards something. I'm going to guess that this scene plays directly into the next one, and this is when the initial invasion, quote unquote, is happening. And I'm convinced that scene will go hand to hand with this scene, which we see Peter Parker on a bus. Suddenly all his hair stands as he has what we can only presume this is their version of Spidey sense, and he's looking rather concerned before everybody else notices something. When he turns around and starts looking out the window, this is where we get the transition scene where there's a giant, I want to call it like a Stargate. It's not that, it's like some sort of teleporting device or something that's going to bring Thanos' army in. He looks rather concerned quite clearly. And this is what I'm assuming ties into that last scene, because everybody's running towards the direction they're trying to get away from it, you know, whatever this thing is that's spinning up. We then see the four heroes that were in the Sanctum Sanctorum all looking rather concerned, and there's a lot of destruction around them. As the next scene starts to play out, we see that someone is actually stepping over a bunch of corpses. No idea who this could be. Initial thought would say Doctor Strange, but we can't really tell. It could possibly be Loki, and speaking of Loki, here he is presenting the Tesseract to who we believe is going to be Thanos, due to the fact that that's how the footage was described back at San Diego Comic-Con and D23. The next scene is the big money shot right here. Out of a little Stargate that's down on the planet, I don't believe this is on Earth, we actually see the Mad Titan himself, Thanos, finally emerge, and we see, you know, it's like closing behind him. It's a very cool effect. We see him looking, and then he does this little smirk, almost like he knows that he's going to be able to do this. Nothing can stop him, real confident. We then have our first glimpse of the Iron Spider suit in action, and I will honestly say it looks way better in motion than it did just standing still on that, you know, like weird looking mantle thing that it was in Homecoming. Now what's interesting to me is it looks like this scene takes place on Earth possibly, unless one of these other Stargate things is on another planet, which could very well be the case because this is probably what brings the invading forces in. Or maybe Spidey is involved on the Earth action, then out of nowhere, you know, Tony looks at him and he goes, "Yeah kid, upgrade to this suit please, so if you get shot it doesn't go right into you, so here's the Iron Spider." After that, a really quick glimpse of Thor holding on to various items, kind of just like spread out, trying to look like probably keep it all together and pull a switch. I'm willing to bet this is probably from the beginning of the movie before he gets lost into the depth of space, or it could possibly be somehow him doing something on a ship much later on as part of a big climactic battle. After that, we see Proxima Midnight toss her spear, which happens to just get caught by the one and only Captain America, who of course has a brand new suit, which is more or less his old suit, just been dirtied up, and he's removed some of the Captain America elements that we all know so much from previous films. We then have a quick glimpse of the Black Panther saying, "Somebody get this man a shield." Now, quite clearly we know Captain America is going to be working closer with Black Panther, as Panther was the one that agreed to hide Bucky from everybody. So we know Bucky of course gets de-thawed in this one, since he was put into like a cryogenic stasis at the end of Civil War. We then actually have a quick glimpse of Captain America emerging from the shadows. We see he's very raggedy, bearded up, like he's definitely been in hiding. That's the indication you get here. And a follow-up scene would just show Scarlet Witch looking rather concerned. Another huge money shot in this trailer is the Hulkbuster 2.0 jumping out of Wakanda, like leaping across the sky all the way down, coming crashing down. Looks really powerful. This suit looking absolutely amazing and way more sleek than the suit we saw last time that was fighting the Hulk. We then see Natasha using a spear, which definitely doesn't look like her weapon. I'm going to guess that this is probably her stabbing Corvus Glaive with his own spear, which would honestly make a lot of sense to me, considering we've seen these actors shooting a scene together. We then see Doctor Strange using his magic, kind of, looking up at something into the sky. I can only assume that he's probably trying to, like, contain ships or something from further doing damage. We then see what I can only describe as sky spears coming crashing down onto what I presume is going to be near or at Wakanda, and we see they're doing massive damage. I can assume that these are probably going to unleash massive, like, drone armies, almost sort of like the Chitauri carrying vehicles, although obviously not the Chitauri themselves. Now, why do I say that? Well, because we see this is clearly near Wakanda, and we see Black Panther and Captain America fighting these weird creatures which have multiple arms. They're pretty freaky looking, to say the least, and we've heard descriptions of these in some of the toys that they've talked about. The creatures definitely have an interesting design and don't look like anything we've seen in the MCU so far that's been used by any of the big bad guys, really. We then see the Mad Titan Thanos doing his best impersonation of the Big Red Machine Kane by choke-slamming Spider-Man straight into the ground, shattering all the concrete around him. Quite clearly this dude is powerful, and Spider-Man is really no match for him alone. The next scene involves Tony Stark looking rather concerned as there's ashes coming up around him, the sky is looking really dark, bunch of destruction behind him. I can only assume this is probably whatever alien planet they're standing on that Spider-Man was just at being choke-slammed. It looks pretty much like everything on this planet is going to be destroyed in some way or another. And after that, we see Vision, who is getting stepped on by Corvus Glaive, and we see his spear, the same one I believe that Black Widow was holding, and we see him pushing that thing into the head of Vision, into the gem. Now, this gem is quite clearly yellow. Now, the next one we see in the next scene, Thanos is using a blue gem and applying it to the Infinity Gauntlet, as we see this like wave come off of it, and it's signifying that, yeah, okay, this thing can be activated now. Now, most likely in the movies, he can use the stones by themselves, just like they could before with the use of the Infinity Glove, and he doesn't need all of them to activate it, but all of them will literally allow you to warp the shape and fabric of time and reality, so that's why he wants them all. The next few scenes show us Thanos as he's looking at the gauntlet, the brand new Iron Man armor once again on that planet, which looks absolutely desolated and demolished of any sign of life. Thanos holding up the glove, which shows 2 Infinity Gems fully in it. Now remember, Marvel could just be playing with us. They could be showing us 2 gems in here, but there could be 4 in there. We don't really know. I mean, the Civil War running towards each other scene included Spider-Man, but we didn't know that until we finally saw the movie, so yeah. But we definitely see that Thanos is definitely no slouch, as he takes a giant punch to Iron Man, just throwing his body back like it's no effort at all, as the ground around behind both of them kind of just seems to be almost hovering in motion. It's really weird. The next few scenes are all, I believe, intercut in a nice way that kind of tells you that this is all within the same sequence. We see Black Panther, we see the Wakandan army and the Winter Soldier as he's arming up, and they're facing off a bunch of those creatures that we saw before. We even see the creatures just kind of running from the woods. I'm guessing this is from those Sky Spears, as I call them, once they get released, and suddenly here's the two giant armies coming to face each other. Now I'm gonna guess this is right after they de-thaw Bucky and he's ready to get into battle. This is it, you know, this is his time to get out there. He's been called upon and he needs help from the people that guarded him. So Captain America is clearly going to be involved here. Falcon, this is definitely the people that were on Captain America's side during Civil War or willing to help him. This is where they've been more or less probably hiding, or at least had a safe haven. And speaking of that, here is Captain America running with the crew. We see the Hulk behind them, so I definitely think that I'm right on this, you know, theory as well. Now another theory I have is that the Hulk from here is actually going to kind of like chase after these ships or jump into the sky, and he's probably going to end up in New York. So I'm willing to bet that this is somehow more towards in the opening of the movie before everybody reunites later on. And last up, the meeting of the brands, as we have Thor, who looks rather beat up. As he looks over, he's asking, who are these guys? And as the camera pans over, we see the Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah, you know, not a whole lot of the Guardians element in here, which I believe is intentional. They want to save some stuff for the like 2 to 3 official trailers, and then the final trailer we're going to get in the course of the next 4.5, 5 months, which I'm definitely hyped about. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my breakdown. Let me know in the comments down below, and let me know how excited you guys are for Avengers Infinity War.